Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be making another Nell T-shirt. I'm going to be making the waist length version, but I'm going to be adding, hopefully, a turtleneck. So hi, thanks for joining me today. Can you please help my channel to grow? I would love it if you watch my videos but you're not a subscriber. If you enjoy my videos, can you please hit the subscribe button too? That would really help and it would help to grow my channel. So the Nell T-shirt, love it. I think this is one of my favourite versions, especially in the colder, cooler months, because I now have had the autumn winter expansion pack. It's got the lovely long sleeve and it's got the raised neckline, and I wore this top so many times and I thought I'll make another one, but let's just change it up a little bit and add a turtleneck. So I've got some fabric that's been on my shelf for a very long time, so it's going to get used. Now it's a striped fabric, striped cotton jersey. So I might have a little play with the stripes and do a little bit of, different directions going on. And I'm going to do the same version as this, I think, if I've got enough, hopefully, but with a turtleneck. So I'm going to draft the turtleneck. So let's go from there and see where it takes me. And I hope you're going to enjoy following me along in my studio today. So let's go over to the cutting table. So first things first, I'm just deciding how tall I want that turtleneck, and I think in the end I chose 7 centimetres, I think it was. And yeah, just looking to see how high it would look at the back. Didn't want anything too high, but obviously I wanted a turtleneck. So then I went on to my pattern pieces, and because I'm doing the waist length top, I've got the bodice pieces there, and they're the autumn winter pieces from the expansion pack with the raised neckline. And I just measured the neckline for the front, for the back, and drew a little sketch of kind of what I was looking for and took the measurements. So obviously I'm cutting on a stripe and I'm just deciding which way I want my stripes to go on the bodice, on the sleeve, on the ruffle hem, the cuffs and the turtleneck. So I'm going to have a little bit of a play with the positioning the stripes. And obviously I don't want to cut it on the fold because of the stripes, so I'm placing it on like halfway, chalking round it, then flipping it over and chalking round the other side, so I know my stripes will all be straight. Because if you cut the stripes on the fold, you sometimes, well, quite a lot of times, you won't get the same on the other side. Your stripes will probably go off, and you don't want your garments that you're making to look a little bit skew with or anything like that. So I'm doing the same on the back as well as the front, chalking it out, then flipping it over. I'm not having a good day with my chalk, I'm not having a good day with my scissors, I'm not having a good day with my rotary cutter. Some days are like that. Do you find that, where none of your tools are working, or you just seem to be all fingers and thumbs like I was doing this video? So I've kind of used scissors, I've used my chalk, and then I've used my rotary cutter, and didn't have much success with any of them really. Well, I just plodded on, and here I am just mapping out the measurements. So I'm cutting it on the fold, so obviously I only need to do half of the total neck measurement. So obviously I measured the front, and obviously that's got to be double because it was cut on the fold, and then measured the back, so that's got to be double and cut on the fold. But then as I was cutting out, I realised, oops, I should not have taken into account the 1 centimetre seam allowance, because obviously when you sew your shoulders together, your neckline's going to be less. And then I remembered I didn't add my seam allowance on my turtleneck piece, so I had to go and add the 1 centimetre seam allowance. I've just remembered that I didn't take into account my shoulder seam allowances when I was calculating the neckline, so I have got to take off the centimetre from the neckline calculation, otherwise it would be too gaping. My original neckline was 48 centimetres, but that does not take into account then when it's stitched together, it will obviously stitched together at shoulder seams, it will be less than that. So I've obviously drawn on my seam allowances on here. So I need to take off the centimetre off there and the centimetre off there, and obviously it'll be for the other side, so I've got to take off 4 centimetres off the overall length. 48 centimetres, so neat minus the 4 equals 44 centimetres. The turtleneck needs to be. So I'm just adding that 1 centimetre on the pattern piece there for the turtleneck. I only need to add it to one side because the piece is cut on the fold. Obviously, if it was not cut on a piece that was for on the fold, you would have to add the 1 centimetre either side. So now I've remembered that, so now I can cut it out, and I'm obviously doing the direction of the stripe going the opposite way, so it gives a little bit of a contrast on against the bodice part. And then on to cutting out all the other pieces. So the sleeves are going to go with the stripes going across the sleeve, and then I've chose for the cuffs to go the opposite way for more contrast, and again with the bottom frill that's going to go the stripes going down, so you've got like a little bit of pattern placement or whatever you call it going on, and just makes it a little bit of fun rather than the stripes all going in the same direction. So there's the cuffs. And then obviously once they're all cut out, and then obviously without fail my faithful feline supervisor has got to be in. So once I got him shifted back into his box, I then needed to cut the frill, but obviously I wanted the stripes to go down rather than across, and the piece is cut on the fold. So rather than doing it that way, I just folded my pattern piece in half and cut it 4 times. And so that means I've got 4 joins instead of 2 joins, which is no issue. You're not even going to see it anyway, and that's one way of getting around it. And obviously I'm adding my seam allowances on there because obviously I've got to sew them all together. Always remember, if you're cutting anything, you've got to add, and you're sewing it back together, you've got to add that seam allowance in. So there's all my pieces cut out, and then it will be on to some sewing. So there you can see the stripe, how the effect of the stripes are going. So I quite like that idea. So next up is pin everything together, pin, 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 and then I take them all over to the overlocker. I'm making this top with my overlocker and just have a mass sewing. So mass pin and then mass sew, and then that saves me getting up and down, up and down. And then once I've done all that, if I need to do any other stitching, which I will on this one, I'll need to do some gathering stitches for the frill. So I need to gather them and also gather the cuff part of the sleeve. And then I'm also going to be using my cover stitch to finish off the hem and to finish off around the neckline, which you will see throughout the video. So before I actually do any sewing, I just thought I'd double check with my pattern piece if that's the look I'm going for, the height I'm going for. Yeah, and I'm quite pleased with it. So onto the overlocker, and I'm using a nifty little gadget that's been kindly sent to me from Groves Limited, and it is a Dressmakers tool, and it's just great for feeding your fabric through, saves you getting your fingers in the way, and it's like a 2-pronged fork type of thing, metal. And yeah, I really enjoyed using it. It came really handy for, you know, starting off your fabric on your overlocker. Sometimes it's hard to get it to start underneath the foot, and it was handy for, as you can see there, just feeding it through, and it's just like an extra pair of hands in a way, I suppose. And here I am doing the hem of the frill. So I've just got my cover stitch out and just finishing off the hem with the cover stitch, and just gives a lovely neat finish. But obviously if you don't have a cover stitch, you can just use your twin needle or zigzag to get the same effect. And as you can see, I'm using that tool because it's absolutely great for feeding in a very tight corner there, tight space with adding those cuffs. And it was just really good to use because you don't get your fingers in the way, and don't get your pins in the way, which you will see at one point where I just, right there, the skin of my teeth forgot to take well, I didn't forget, it just came upon me too quickly, and just by the skin of my teeth got that pin out before it went over the blade. So that was a lucky escape. And I'm just putting on the turtleneck piece there, and again using that tool. Really good tool, highly recommend it. I'll put the link to it in the description box. And I'm just pulling out the gathering stitches, and the cuffs, they're all done, ready to go in. And you can see that I'm just marking the centre front, centre back and the quarter points for the turtleneck there just before I popped it in, just to show you how I place it. So I pop pins in the front, centre back and the quarter marks, and I line up those pins with the ones on the bodice. So right sides together, line up the centre backs, line up the centre fronts, then line up the quarter points. It's all stitched in place now, and I just need to cover stitch around that neckline. I quite like it. So I'm going to do some cover stitch around the neckline, then that'll be finished, and then I've just got to add the sleeves. So the sleeves are prepared and ready to go in, and then just got to add the ruffle waist hem. I've already done the hem, cover stitch the hems, and I've got the gathering stitches in, so I've just got to pull the gathering stitches. Obviously it's got 4 joins because I wanted the fabric to go downwards and I didn't have enough, so I just got 4 joins. You're not going to see in the gathering anywhere, so I just need to gather it in, and obviously it'll look quite cute, the stripes going that way. And yeah, I'm liking it so far, so we'll keep going. So I'm on the homeward stretch now, just gathering up the skirt, the peplum skirt there, and just fitting it to the bottom of the bodice, and then just stitch it in place with my overlocker, and everything is just about done. Give it a press and then try it on and see what we all think.
can see me okay because the light is fading fast, but just wanted to show you the finished result. Really do love the turtleneck style. It's just like, it's not like the polo neck where it's constricted around your neck. It's quite loose, and yeah, I really do like it. I mean, it was just guesswork really, and it's turned out really well. And I think with doing the stripe, playing with the stripes has made it quite a fun top too. So this is the Nell T-shirt waist length with the autumn winter expansion pack with a raised neckline and the autumn winter sleeves. You saw me in the video create the turtleneck, and how super easy was that? You're going to have a go yourself. Obviously take your neck measurement of the garment that you're adding it to, and don't forget to do what I did with your shoulder seams. Take off the seam allowance for the shoulder seams, but then create your turtleneck, but don't take off anything for the stretch, because you don't want it tight, you want it loose. So I didn't take any percentage off. Normally when you're doing a neckband on a stretch top, you normally have 85-95% stretch on it. I didn't do any for this. I just wanted it exactly as it was, just to sit as it does, and I love it. Quite fun, and I'm so glad I've used up this fabric. It's been on my shelf at least 2 years, and this is going to be another well-worn top, especially when I'm working in my studio. Cozy, comfy, and a bit of fun. And I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, please subscribe if you don't already do so. If you watch my videos but you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button. That would really help me. If you like to see more of my creative content, I would love for you to come and join me over on Patreon, where there is exclusive sewing content and you get access to all my sewing patterns. A cheeky little bonus sleeve coming as well if you're a Patreon subscriber. As always, thank you so much for supporting me here on my channel. And if you like this type of style of top, you may want to watch the video where it shows you of me creating the Nell T-shirt dress. I'll pop the card for that up there. But until the next time, thank you so much for joining me, and hit that subscribe, and I'll see you on my next sewing video. Bye for now.